How's it going, YouTube? JamieTheKid00 here, coming at you guys with one of my old favourite decks from 2012. That's going to be Dino Rabbit. This is a deck that I have mourned the passing of since I played it in 2012 for as long as I possibly could before the ban list took my my lovely bunnies away. And I've basically just been fooling around on Dueling Network. It is where I test, where I always test, and I decided, hey, you know what? Let's try Rabbit again. Let's give it a go. And I actually came up with a build that was not great, but actually slightly relevant in the meta. And while it does, I had to go get these out because I had to honor them in the video. While it does lack the old 3 rabbits that the old profiles used to contain, it does still lack the important factor of 1 rabbit. And I'm trying my best to make up for that deficit. So I've come up with this list. I've literally gone nowhere for anyone else's lists because I wanted this to be exactly how I want to play the deck and not how anyone else would play it. So, because like I feel I had my own individual play style of this deck, which was a very advantage-based system. So without further ado, I'm going to show you guys the profile I have been testing. This is literally just a fun deck that I wanted to build to kind of honor Rescue Rabbit. Because around this time last year, I was actually buying in my own new rabbit, these rabbits for the first time. Sorry, not this time last year. This time 2 years ago, I was buying in my rabbits for the March ban list when Rabbit didn't get touched. So we're almost at the time when I first built the deck as the 2-year anniversary. So I figured, why not do this list? So we're going to start off with the Lone Rescue Rabbit. This is our focal point of the deck. We want to get to this card as fast as possible, and you will see that the deck really revolves around that. And where the 2 other Rescue Rabbits once were, we now have 2 copies of Card D to fill in the gap. Card D, in my opinion, does the same job, and this is going to sound a bit weird, does the same job as Rabbit into Largia used to do, except it doesn't take the normal monsters out of the deck. When you went Rabbit into Largia, you made 1 card, which was the Rabbit, turn into 2 cards, because it would take your opponent 2 cards to take out this Largia. 1 card to bait out the negation, 1 card to kill it. So your Rabbit Largia play was always a +1. Card D is always a +1. It costs you a normal summon, Rabbit costs you a normal summon, almost all of the time. So I felt that the cards behaved in a very similar way to Rabbit. Think of that what you will, they don't give you a board presence, and it's not negation, but it is a +1 in the advantage respect. So I felt that they were a worthy kind of successor to the Rabbits, and they do help you get through the deck a lot faster. No longer do we play common Sabosauruses. We play 3 copies of the lovely Secret Rare, the Legendary Collection Joey's Well brought us. I wish these came out when I was actually playing the deck. I'm kind of really sad that they didn't, but hey, they're out. They're also accompanied by 3 Cabazals. I sadly don't have the 3rd Secret, so I'm still having to play 1 Hobby League one with this lovely blue rare name. But these normal monsters are the lifeblood of this deck, along with the Rabbit. The reason why these aren't even straightening up. The reason why I'm playing all of these normals, 2 sets of normals, and only 1 Rabbit, is because of Tour Guide. Because Tour Guide went back to 3, you now have better access to Leviair, so you're better able to abuse the Rabbit when it's removed from play, and keep bringing it back and keep getting Rabbit plays off. I would much rather be playing the extra normals and be able to use Rabbit twice than not be able to use the Rabbit twice. Call me crazy. I still think that you can play the Cabazals, Sabosaurus, protect the dinosaur grind game with this deck, especially in a format which is dominated by Fire Fist, which this deck can actually kind of square off against if they don't open broke. So I still like all the normals. Of course, drawing them is awful. Drawing Sabosaurus is great, because Sabosaurus wrecks Bear, especially if they don't have the Lance and they're not playing that Trap variant, which a lot less people are playing nowadays. This card wrecks Bear, so I love this card. But say the Cabazals is slightly less happy face, but with the Lance, you're still wrecking Fire Fist in the face. Continuing on with the dinosaurs, the last dinosaurs we play are 3 copies of Jurak Guaiba. Jurak Guaiba is incredibly relevant in the meta right now, and I really cannot stress that enough. Jurak Guaiba in combination with Forbidden Lance beats almost everything at the moment. The only thing it doesn't beat is Bure. This beats Megalo, it beats Bear, it beats Tiger King, it beats Gigant, it beats some Hieratics, it beats Atum, but not Gaia. So it beats a lot of things, and some of the E-Dragons as well. So it's kind of relevant against quite a few things in the meta right now. It's again, this deck really isn't that great, but it surprisingly pulls its weight against a lot of the high-tier decks. It loses to Rogue. It really loses to Rogue, and it loses to Mermail when Mermail opens broke, but we'll carry on. And then the last few monsters I play in the deck are the 3 copies of Tour Guide from the Underworld, the same 3 I played 2 years ago, simply because of Levier. Simply because Levier is a card. This means that Rabbit can be used more than once. This means that Rabbit being at 1 isn't necessarily a bad thing. And then, sadly, I wish this could be Sangan, but we play 1 Night Assailant in Sangan's place. I couldn't find the Night Assailant before this video. I literally found it last minute. I was considering just having the Sangan as a placeholder. But I knew some people wouldn't listen to the audio and be all like, why is there a Sangan in your list? So yeah, that is the complete monster lineup. It's really basic. It's literally just what you need for getting the Ghost Rabbits, which are in the white sleeves. It's literally just what you need, no more, no less. For these spells, and there's a lot of them, well, a fair amount of them. We have the 1 Dark Hole. Again, you need your pluses. So Dark Hole is a thing. Book of Moon, really, really strong in the grind game. Gold Sarcophagus, and I want to discuss this card for a minute. Gold Sarcophagus in this deck, now that Tour Guide is at 3, functions a lot like having a second Rescue Rabbit. If you have this card in your hand, and you are able to Sarc for your 1 Rescue Rabbit in your deck, you can then, if you have Tour Guide in your hand, just summon the Tour Guide, make Levier, and Levier back the Rabbit, and it's just as good as having a Rabbit, except you've got a Levier now as well. Yes, it has cost you 1 more card than just having the Rabbit in the first place, but Rabbit's at 1. We take what we get. So, Sarking for Rabbit is pretty nice. And we do speed through the deck to get to this. You'll see the amount of deck thinning I play in a minute. Well, it's not that much now that I think about it. It's just the cards and a few other things. I then play double MST. I'm only playing 2 mainly for space reasons, and the fact that I didn't find MST as effective as I did Lance in this build. Lance, I found, was a lot stronger in playing Protect the Dino. MST, really not so much. MST is good for the tankies and the spheres. I'll give you that, and I do side the 3rd. But recently, it's just not. I've not been wanting the 3rd MST. It's just it doesn't interact very well with your single monster plays. It responds very well when you have Tour Guide and Rabbit, but it doesn't work very well when you just have Vanillas or Guaiba. So that's those. And then for the deck thinning, I play 3 copies of Pot of Duality. People will say, as they always seem to keep saying in a lot of my profiles, oh, but you special summon a lot. Yes, but a lot of other times you don't special summon, and you just normal summon a normal monster, or you just summon normal monsters, or Karkadi. And that's the turns where you want the duality. Basically, if you have a Rabbit play, you don't play duality that turn. If you don't have the Rabbit play, you play duality, and you find it. This just gets you further through the deck and helps you dig for those cards that you need. The Rabbits, the Guides, the Sarc, the Guaibas in some situations, just cards you need. And then I'm playing 3 copies of Upstart Goblin, and this is another card I need to stop and quickly discuss, because a lot of people are going to go, oh, Hoban Hype Train. Yes, this deck cannot recover the 3k that it's going to give the opponent that easily. But I felt that this card was effective because the deck is incredibly, incredibly slow if it can't get to its few important power cards, like the Karkadi, the Rabbit, the Tour Guide, and in some situations the Guaibas. So you really, really need to get to your power cards as fast as possible, and Upstart Goblin helps you get through the deck a little bit faster, especially in tandem with Duality and Card Car. So we're playing 8 cards, which let you thin the deck, so we're basically playing a 32 card deck to try and get towards that Rabbit. That's why I'm playing these Upstart Goblins. The cost is a little hard to recover, but once you are able to establish a solid board state and take control of the board with your Rabbit, with your Lagi and Dolka plays, you should win. So you should be able to grind really, really well, and therefore the Goblins really won't matter too much in the long run. So that's the entire spell lineup. The trap lineup is fairly standard. It's just grind game tactics 101. with a few added extras. I'm playing Double Mistake. Mistake I love playing in any deck that can play it at the moment. Yes, I am aware it conflicts with your Pot of Dualities, but it conflicts with some of your opponent's decks even more. I'd much rather have a dead duality in my hand and know that I've locked my opponent out of their Tenki or their own dualities. So I just really like the Mistakes. They're really good against Gear Gear. They literally win you the game against Gear Gear. They're pretty damn effective against Heretic because it shuts down the seal, the Seal of Convocation, and it shuts down some of the Mermail searches, especially now that the Pike Turge play is really popular. Shuts down the Megalo search. It's just a really effective card. And when it gets Marksman, you can flip it face up. And a lot of them aren't playing Infantry anymore because they're copying Hoban, and they can't deal with this because they don't main MST or Infantry. So you lose. Then for the more generic stuff, I play 3 Chain, Triple Fiendish Chain. I really like this card, this format. It's the reason I don't play any hand traps in this deck. It just gets you... one of the main things that I love this card for, actually, is pinning down your opponent's monsters for your Guibers to go nom 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 nom. You literally go, okay, you've made a bear, you've popped your Tenki to try and kill one of my normals, or something on my board. You've popped your Tenki. I'm going to now Fiendish Chain your bear, so now it's on 16 because you killed your Tenki. It's sometimes on 16, I am aware they can have other cards. And then, because it's locked on 16 and can't go anywhere, you can then summon the Guiber and kill it. So, I really like this. It's the same, it does the same with Pike. It does the same with Gigia armor in some situations. When they call it the Haunted It. So, it's pretty cool, And then, the only other traps I play are just big destruction in the form of double Mirror Force. Bottomless, Torrential for the same reasoning that I've always reasoned it for, especially when I used to play 2 in this deck in old Rabbit format at some points. If you have this and you have Lagia, you're already winning, so you don't need to activate this, and it's cool, you can just set it. However, when you start to lose control of your board, like when they're about to kill, you've used your Lagia negation and they're about to kill the Lagia, you can then use this as a reset switch, so you can allow your opponent to kind of plus into you to try and kill the Lagia, and have them overextend, and then you can just reset the board. So you're really not losing that much. And then play the 1 Solemn Warning as the final trap, because this card is incredible right now, especially when you're grinding. This whole deck just revolves around winning the grind game. If you get, if your opponent opens Nutty, you basically lose. I'm not going to lie to you, you basically lost. But you do have Exciton Knight now to take it back if you can make it. But yeah, that is the complete main deck that I've been testing. And I'm really quite pleased with that. I wouldn't change anything at the moment, I don't feel. Maybe the Mistakes could be changed, and maybe main decking a macro would be interesting. Oh, another thing I want to quickly talk about that gives this deck an edge against a massive portion of the meta right now. This deck can play Macro, Soul Drain, and Fissure. Fissure really hurts Heretic and Mermail, so that's really good. Macro hurts Heretic, Mermail, and Fire Fist because they can't send their fire formations because it specifically says send them to the graveyard. It also hurts Insectors by playing Macro, and Soul Drain hurts, again, Heretic and Mermail. So those are really big decks in the format right now. This deck can really effectively side for. The only sad part is this deck cannot play Rivalry, it cannot play Gozen, and it loses to Skill Drain in some situations. So it does have a few hard side matchups, but it's able to side very, very strong blanket cards, as I like to call them, just cards that say you can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! So it's pretty good like that. For the extra deck, double Lagia. I find myself never making more than this now. When Rabbit was at 2 and 3, you could play 3 Lagia and love it, but 2 Lagia is all you can make now, sadly. And then accompanying them with the 2 Dolka. I still have the originals, Phone Shockwave ones, because they're lovely. They're exactly the same as the tin ones. You couldn't tell the difference apart from the limited edition sign. Dolka, incredibly, incredibly powerful card. I actually prefer this card to Lagia. It's just that Dolka is a lot flimsier and just dies a lot easier because you have to actually protect it, whereas Lagia can protect itself. So Dolka, number 101 Silent Honor Arc because it deals with loads of problems. Any problem that 101 can't deal with, Exciton Knight is there to, again, try and deal with. When you get into grind game situations, your opponent goes plus, you're like, yay, because then you can Exciton Knight them. So Knight is in there. Diamond Direwolf, because some things you just really want to pop, especially if you're up on advantage, it's better than Exciton. So there are some things you just need to destroy. Daigusto Emerald, because sometimes you will draw a lot of normal monsters and you will need to refresh them. So Emerald. 1 Cowboy, because burn is good, and swinging over things is great. Swinging over really huge 3k guys is pretty cool. One Abyss Dweller. When you've got Carbazals under this, it's 22, which is great, and it shuts down Mermail and Heratic. And then the final 4 I play is 1 Mace Stroke, because it's just effective, it's just really nice. So that's the rank 4s. I don't think there's anything I've missed that really should be in there. I'm pretty happy with all of them, I've never had to make anything else. And then the rank 3s I play are 1 Leviathan Dragon. As a raw attacker, the 1 Leviair, you will only ever make this play once. Especially because you only have 2 sets of normals and no Avarice anymore, so the second Leviair is redundant. This also isn't Macro Rabbit, so we don't need the Leviairs. 1 Mech-Whipped Engineer, because there is nothing nicer than protecting your Lagia or Dolka with an Engineer. I've had a situation where I had Engineer Dolka on the field, my opponent just couldn't do anything, so that was great. And then a bit more of an aggressive protector is Wind Up Zen Mains. I really like this card at the moment. It does lose to a lot of things, but I don't know, I just still love Zen Mains. He's still my bro. He's still a great card. But yeah, guys, brings us to the end of this deck profile. Actually, I've had a lot of fun testing this deck. I really, really miss playing Rabbit. I cannot actually describe to you guys how much I miss playing it. Far more than I miss playing Old Mermail. I just really enjoyed the simplified game states you could get, the grind game states, the long and hard fought game states you could get. It really actually left you walking away from the table satisfied with the game you just played. But yeah, that's about everything. For some reason I think there's a train going by now. It's just a growling in the background. Yeah, I think that's about everything. Let me know what other deck profiles you'd love to see me make in the comment section below. I guess I should ask that question because I'm running out of ideas. And I'll see you guys soon with some more Yu-Gi-Oh! Related content. I hope you've enjoyed this blast from the past, one of my favourite decks from 2012. This has been Jamie the Kid 00, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.